we now swiftly move on to the seminar session. Now we have 3 pre-recorded presentations, and we will be followed by a short Q&A session afterwards. So please don't forget to submit your thoughts and comments and questions through the portal. Our speakers will be discussing the importance of collaboration and the ultimate potential of paediatric innovation. First up, we have Professor Jim Wild, Professor of Magnetic Resonance Physics, Executive Director at Ignito Institute for In Silico Medicine in the UK.
Hello everyone, thanks for the invitation to talk at this meeting, Paul. Really looking forward to the programme. My name's Jim Wild, I'm the Executive Director of the Insignio Institute here in Sheffield. We represent a cross-faculty institute collaborating at the interface of medical technology and healthcare research, and I'm very proud to say that Sheffield Children's Hospitals is one of our partners. So I'll give you a bit of an overview of what the Insignio Institute's about, and then I'll highlight some of the research we've done with Sheffield Children's Hospital over the years, looking at medtech research for patient benefit. So Insignio was established over 10 years ago now as the world's first institute of in silico medicine. We really defined this concept of in silico medicine, computational approaches using simulation to predict patient outcomes, these kind of things. We've inherently always been a collaboration with our NHS hospitals, starting off with the adult NH hospital here in Sheffield, Sheffield Teaching Hospitals. I'm very happy to say we formally partnered up with Sheffield Children's Hospitals 2 years ago. And we've broadened our partners to include the Advanced Manufacturing Research Centre in Sheffield and recently Doncaster and Bassett Hall's Hospital Trust as well. So we're a collection of over 300 academics, researchers, clinicians working across South Yorkshire, interested in medical technologies in the broadest sense. Research spans biomedical imaging approaches, digital approaches with healthcare data, computational modelling of physiological processes, biomechanics, these kind of things, and digital healthcare technologies in general. So yeah, that's a bit of background to the Institute. Essentially, our Institute represents the best of what's going on at the kind of interface of physical science, engineering and medicine in terms of research in the region. These bullet points kind of highlight our kind of mission statement, really, to shape technology with enhanced healthcare provision using technological solutions. We're leading on kind of computational approaches, bringing together technical expertise at low technology readiness level and then translating these approaches for patient benefit with our NHS partners. And we've got a big drive to work with industry partners as well. We've got some big strategic partnerships with companies like GE Healthcare, ANSYS, and many more. And then commercialising our technologies as well. So one of the ways to really kind of improve clinical reach and indeed clinical impact is to work with companies to kind of get technologies into the marketplace. And I'll talk a little bit about how we're going about that through Insignio. So this slide summarises our partner members. So we've got the red hexagons, they're the primary membership from the faculties of the university. Then we've got the Advanced Manufacturing Research Centre, which is the University of Sheffield catapult, working on advanced manufacturing approaches relevant for the kind of harder end of medtech. And then we've got our 3 clinical NHS trusts, Sheffield Teaching Hospital, Sheffield Children's Hospital, and Doncaster and Bassett Hall. And people move quite freely in and out of these organisations in Insignio. These are the 5 primary research themes of Insignio, generally themed around our technological approaches, which indeed are applicable to pretty much all of the kind of diseases and clinical questions in both child and adult health. So we're not themed around any one clinical question. It's more a question of how do we translate these technologies and approaches into clinical practice. So we've got these 5 themes: biomaterials, biomechanics and cell engineering, computational modelling in medicine, healthcare data and AI. You'll hear a nice talk later on from my colleague Tim Chico, who's leading the South Yorkshire Digital Health Hub, which was kind of catalysed by interactions between Insignio and the Advanced Wellbeing Research Centre in Sheffield. Then we've got a theme around smart devices and sensors and imaging technologies, and I'll talk a little bit about some of the research going on with Sheffield Children's Hospitals in each of those spaces. So here's one project that we've been working on over the years. This is developed by Heather Elphick and colleagues, Alberto Marzo in engineering. So Heather's a respiratory medic. She's interested in better drug delivery to the lungs. Here we're working with a third-party provider who's looking at making cheap, disposable and patient-specific spaces for better delivery of drugs, compatibility with aerosol nebulizers. So can we deliver drugs more effectively to children using a eco-friendly paper-made spacer? So there we've simulated the airflow using computational fluid dynamics, both in the spacer, and then we've looked at better access to the respiratory airways using some patient-specific modelling of airflow. So that's one area where we're linking together these kind of computational approaches, but directing it towards better and cheaper treatment approaches. Next area is one that's quite close to my heart. I'm a MRI scientist, physicist by background. We've been developing fundamental technologies for imaging lung function, structure and function using what's called hyperpolarized gas MRI. So this spans the basic technologies from the hardware of how we manufacture special devices, integrating these technologies onto MRI scanners, which allows us to pick up signals from different nuclei. And then at the end, we're using computational approaches to provide clinicians with better measures of lung function using this novel, exquisite hyperpolarized gas imaging, exemplifying our long-standing collaboration with Sheffield Children's Hospital. We've got images of lung ventilation here acquired in children. We were the first group in the world to take this technology into children, and indeed first group in the world to demonstrate it clinically in partnership with the NHS. Here we've got images on the left, a patient with cystic fibrosis with normal lung function. And you can see in the 3D image there's some clear signs of ventilation defects, even though the gold standard lung function tests are showing no obstructive airway disease. The FEV1 is normal. We still see significant ventilation heterogeneity. And then we've got an example of a child with worse lung function, and you can see immediately the regional ventilation heterogeneity. So working in partnership with Sheffield Children's Hospital, we're now taking this into clinical practice, and we're using these really exquisite sensitive digital readouts of lung function to evaluate different therapeutic approaches in collaborations with our colleagues in the NHS. Next slide. This is some interesting work done by Amakaro Faya, who's a paediatric radiologist over at Sheffield Children's Hospital. She's worked with Insignio over the years looking at biomechanics simulation, so simulating bone fracture in very young children with a view to understanding the tragic injuries that take place related to child abuse. So simulation of bone structure there, using, you can see the kind of images of the Young's modulus, prediction of kind of lung strength and bone strength and bone fracture susceptibility using patient-specific imaging data. So that's work done by Amaka over at Sheffield Children's Hospital as well. So there's 3 exemplar projects of how Insignio is working with Sheffield Children's Hospital and translating some of these technological approaches for kind of computational and novel imaging technologies I've shown you here for patient benefit. Next slide just kind of summarises where we're taking this next. So very happy to say that we've just put in place a series of 4 PhD projects working between Insignio and Sheffield Children's Hospital in collaboration with Great Ormond Street, NIHR Biomedical Research Centre, working on digital approaches. So we're in the process of appointing 4 PhDs working specifically in areas aligned with the kind of digital side of things. So exciting times. taking the collaboration forward. And I think Tim will talk a bit more about the digital healthcare agenda in South Yorkshire in his talk. Just finishing off, commercialisation, as I said earlier on, is a big part of how we see medtech reaching the wider reach of medtech, and this is important to Insignio. Our commercialisation officer, Alex Wilkinson, is doing some great work looking at the commercialisation journey and how we can kind of take things through the cycle of potential doom into the commercial sector for more rapid uptake for patient benefit. So that's it for me. Enjoy the rest of the meeting, and thanks again for the invitation. Cheers.
Thank you to Professor Wild